Hey guys, it's Dan DeLuca from Eugene, Oregon. And in this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to have a really effective Periscope session. And I know it's kind of ironic that I'm doing a YouTube video about Periscope, but hey, irony's everywhere, right? So this is going to be 11 points to how to have an effective Periscope session. And you might want to take some notes and write this down, but also I have notes in the actual description of the video, but you might want to take some anyway. So so here's how to have a really effective Periscope session where you can get a lot of interaction and potentially generate leads for yourself or interest in you. So the first thing is to have a really catchy title for your Periscope session. And, so make it what it's going to be about, really specific, and use emojis. People really like to see those in the title. And then as you start your session, so you're going to give people a few minutes to come on before you actually start giving the content. And this is a really great time to get interaction going and also to find out who is on your Periscope. So what I do is I ask them to put something in the chat, like where they're from, or even just say hello. And that way, as that chat gets captured and recorded by Periscope, you can review that and you can see who followed you and you can interact with them later. You can follow them or connect with them later. So ask people to say where they're from. That's usually pretty innocuous and people like to say that. And it's also kind of fun for everybody to see where everybody's at. And you want to continue to ask people to do this as you do your scope, because as people come on, right, once you've asked it once, it's kind of gone and this is live. So continue to ask, and I'll hit that again. So that was the second tip. And then the third tip is ask them to share on the scope and tell them how to do that. So I ask them to share the scope with their followers, and that would be on Periscope and on Twitter. And you have to tell people how to do it. Periscope is still pretty new, so people don't new people are coming on all the time. So teach them how to share. And the way that you do that is what I do is I tell them touch the little person icon in the bottom right of the screen, and then it gives the share option to share, and I ask them to share on Twitter and share with their followers on Periscope itself. And again, that's another thing that I ask people to do more than once. As the scope goes on, continue to put that back in so that as new people come in, you're asking them to do that. And then I introduce myself at least twice on the scope because, again, new people come in, they don't know who you are. So I'll say, my name, this is Dan DeLuca, and the subject of the scope, and I'll ask them to share the scope with their followers, and I will ask them to put where they're from in the chat, and I will also, I'm inviting interaction. I really want interaction in my scopes, even during the content section of the scope. So I also ask them for hearts, and I tell them how to do that, and that is basically by touching the screen. And you want people to show the love, and show the love when they like what you're providing. So that might not start out until you actually start the content section of your scope. So at this point, and then I also tell them repeatedly about how many minutes before I'm actually going to begin to provide content, because people do get impatient. But if they know it's going to be another minute so that I can allow more people to start to come on, people will usually wait. And then I provide the content. I'll do whatever it is that I'll talk about, whatever I'm going to talk about. And I will also continue to acknowledge people as they come on. I'll say hello to people. I'll say their names, and this is while the content's going on. And this keeps things interactive. And I'll also continue to ask for hearts. I'll ask for shares, and continue to ask, where are you from? So that I continue that interaction, and I can kind of capture in the chat who is on and where they're from. Now, sometimes during a scope, you'll see people in the chat repeating the points that you made, which is really great. You're getting interaction and you're capturing points. And that person is somebody that I definitely want to follow up with and acknowledge both during the scope and then after the scope. And that's a way also, just as an aside, when you are watching a scope, if you can provide value that way, people are going to look at you as a leader, as a person that might know something, as a person that wants to help, and you can get contacts. And that's another. I have a Periscope actually on how to get more followers on Periscope without actually doing a Periscope. And that's one of the ways that I suggest, is that as you're watching a scope, provide feedback or repeat, so that people, if they didn't get it, maybe it's a URL or maybe it's just a salient point, they see that you're contributing. So I'm up to my 10th tip here. So after the scope is over, after your content part is over, I should say, you want to invite questions and hang out for a few minutes and chat with people and see who's there, acknowledge them, continue to ask for hearts if you're not getting hearts, or at least tell people how to do it, because again, Periscope is pretty new and a lot of people don't really know all the ins and outs of it. So if you can show them how to do that and then ask them to do that, you'll start to get more hearts, and you'll also be seen as a person that teaches, a person that's a leader, and you're inadvertently really, you're telling people what you want them to do. And so, and then that is my final point, was to continue to ask for hearts and ask for shares and tell them how to do it. So, again, my name is Dan DeLuca, and I provide mentoring and I provide mindset tips and tricks, and you can find me on my blog, which is listed in the description. And I have a free offer for you for Periscope. If you go to my website, scopewithdd.com, and that's all together, no hyphens or spaces or anything, scopewithdd.com, there's a 2+ hour video training that includes the slides from that training on using Periscope, setting it up, finding topics, how to do a scope, and how to use it to gain leads and also brand yourself. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.